Wow. Thank you, Lucinda. Welcome. Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the South Hills, also known as Sunnyhill. Thank you so much to those of you who sprung out of bed early and ventured out on this chilly yet beautifully sunny hill kind of day. And a warm welcome to those of you who are with us online. If you are out there, please let us know by saying good morning and hello on Facebook or YouTube. Our mission here at Sunnyhill is to create a more just and compassionate community within and beyond our walls. My name is Mary Jo Hennessy, and I serve as a worship associate for this congregation. If you are a newcomer or a visitor to our congregation, extra warm welcome to you. And please make sure you go to sunnyhill.org and click on the button that says New to Sunnyhill to receive more information about our congregation, and you can sign up to receive our weekly newsletter called The Beat, which arrives every Wednesday. Today's service is the second of 4 services based on the hymn Amazing Grace. Today we will reflect on the history of the song and the role that belief might have in guiding our actions and transforming our lives. Our opening words today were written by Sherry Woodbury. Welcome, you who come in friendship, who long for genuine community.
May you be graciously received here as your authentic self.
Welcome, you who come in curiosity, full of questions or simply open.
May you embrace wonder and encounter new delights.
Welcome, You who come heavy with fatigue, weary from the troubles of the world or the troubles of your particular life.
May you rest and be filled in this sacred space.
Welcome, you who come with joy for flowing rivers and gentle breeze, for changing skies and great trees.
May the grace of the world leave a lasting imprint in you.
Welcome, you who come with thanks for the altruism of the earth and the gift of human care.
May your grateful heart overflow and bless those around you.
Come, let us celebrate together this wondrous life. We're getting back to normalcy where there's a PowerPoint with the opportunity for me to mess it up a little bit. But we'll get there. But join me in the words for lighting our chalice, which you can actually see and read with me together. We light this chalice as a beacon of hope for those who have gathered here this day, for those who may yet find this spiritual home, and for all those things we dare to hope and dream.
Good morning. Please rise in body and or spirit and join us in singing, "Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing."
Come thou fount of every blessing, tune our hearts to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. While the hope of life's perfection fills our hearts with joy and love, teach us ever to be faithful. May we still thy goodness prove. Come thou fount of every vision, lift our eyes to what may come. See the lion and the young lamb dwell together in thy home. Hear the cries of war fall silent, feel our love glow like the sun. When we all serve one another, then our heaven is begun. Come thou fount of inspiration, turn our lives to higher ways. Lift our gloom and desperation, show the promise of this day. Help us bind ourselves in union, help our hands tell of our love. With thine aid, O fount of justice, earth be fair as heaven above.
Good morning. Babies don't believe anything. Babies aren't born Buddhists or Baptists or believers of any sort. But soon after we arrive in the world, we start to gather ideas. We pick up beliefs and ideas about people and animals and families. We collect ideas about stars and comets and how it all got started. We accumulate beliefs about good and bad, right and wrong, what's healthy and unhealthy, and what's important in life. All of these beliefs, which we get from our families and our parents and our friends, from the TV and from our RE classes, go into our belief bag. Now, most religions define themselves by what they believe, or what's inside the bag. Christians, for instance, believe in Jesus. Muslims believe in Allah and the Prophet Muhammad. Buddhists believe in the Four Noble Truths. But Unitarian Universalists don't have just one set of beliefs. What makes us different is the way we Unitarian Universalists carry our beliefs, because there are different ways of holding your belief bag. For example, some people hold their bag like this. They clutch it close and make sure the top is tightly sealed because they don't want their beliefs exposed to any new ideas that could threaten what's inside. They've got their world wrapped up in a nice, tidy package. On the other hand, some people are just the opposite. They don't pay much attention at all to what goes into their bag. One idea is as good as another, and if other folks believe it, or if they read it on the internet or heard it on talk radio, then it must be true. And then there are people who carry their bags like this, like a club they use to hit other people. What's inside their bag may sound very nice and sweet. For instance, I believe in peace and kindness and the golden rule, but they use their bag like a weapon. You don't believe in peace? Shame on you. But none of this is the Unitarian Universalist way. Instead, we carry our bags like this. We carry them with the top open so that new ideas and experiences can get inside, and old beliefs can be tossed aside if needed. We carry our bags in front of us so that we can see and examine what goes in, to be sure it makes sense and fit with the other things we know, and also so that we can see what our neighbors think and to share our thoughts with others. Above all, we never use our beliefs to beat up or bully other people. That's what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. The next time somebody asks you, what do the people in your church believe, you can tell them. For Unitarian Universalists, it's less about what you believe than how you hold your beliefs. It's how you acquire them, how you share them, and what you do with them that counts. Thank you, and thanks to Mary Jo, of course.
We are now singing the children out to RE again. So please join me in singing the children out. And kiddos, you can follow Miss Jen out the back door. As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go, as you go, may joy surround you. As
Thank you, choir. That was really beautiful. And I want to thank our choir for hanging with us throughout this last 2 years. Through a lot of changes, it's been great to have this steady choir presence in its various forms and permutations, and it's much appreciated by all of us. Now's the time, yes, thank you. Now's the time in our service when we share joys and sorrows that have been submitted by members of the congregation. After each joy or sorrow that I share, please respond by saying, "We hold you in our hearts." A sorrow from Joe Shaughnessy. Joe says, "My dear friend, Baltimore Bill Hensley from Seattle passed away on Friday. He was in his 70s but contracted COVID, as did his wife. Barbara is going back home today from the hospital. Joe says he was like an uncle to our family when we lived in Seattle. He is survived by a lot of loving, grieving family. To Joe and to the other friends and family of Bill Hensley, we hold you in our hearts." And a joy and sorrow that I would like to share. Many of you know John and Judy Graham, who are here today. John just sang in the choir. They're going to be moving to Vermont, I believe, just in a week or two, where they will be close to their daughter. They've been members here for the past 3 or 4 years, I believe, extremely active in a variety of ways. We're very happy and joyful for them for this move. At the same time, it's a sorrow, and this is the last Sunday that we're going to be seeing them here at Sunnyhill. So to John and Judy, we hold you in our hearts. Please join me in the spirit of meditation or prayer. Sometimes it's hard just to sit with discomfort, simply to hold in tension the way things are with the way we want them to be, for ourselves, for others, for our world. Sometimes it's hard even to admit that not all is right with us or those around us. That despite appearances, there are places where we feel wounded or less than whole. Sometimes it's hard to imagine how acknowledging these uncomfortable things could possibly help, could make less burdensome the load that we are carrying. In the silence of this moment, let's sit together with those things that trouble us, that often go unacknowledged. May we have the strength to reach out when we need to be comforted. May we have the courage to reach out to others when they need comfort from us. May we have the strength, courage, and resolve to do what we can to offer comfort to the world, and to learn to sit with discomfort ourselves, knowing that we do not have to bear it alone. Amen.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Speak for me. Speak for me, speak for me, speak for me, oh my soul. Speak for me, speak for me, speak for me, oh my soul. Dance with me. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Comfort me. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
Amazing Grace is perhaps the most popular hymn ever written. Its appeal tends to transcend lines of difference, including race, ethnicity, culture, and faith tradition. Since its inception in 1772, Amazing Grace has appeared in more than 1,000 different hymnals, and it is estimated that it's sung in public some 10 million times a year. As I mentioned last week, the song's near universal appeal has been noted by cultural observers and historians, including James Basker, an English historian at Barnard College, who wrote about why the song's music and lyrics have such appeal, especially at moments of deep human suffering. They appeal without any narrowness, he says. There is no specific condition, there's no specific religious faith, there's no specific cultural context. It's just about that thing that human beings share, which is pain, and the imaginative yearning. And this is the thing, he says, about human beings. We are able to imagine and to yearn for joy and peace, for relief from the miseries of the world. Amazing Grace is one of only a handful of hymns that have crossed over from the realm of sacred songs to the secular world, having been recorded more than 12,000 times by musicians of all stripes, believers and non-believers alike. Arlo Guthrie performed Amazing Grace as the last song in his set at Woodstock in 1969. And in 1970, Judy Collins released a recording of the song that spent some 67 weeks on the top 100 pop charts, peaking at number 5. A bagpipe band infamously recorded the song. It was the Royal Scots Dragoon Guards, and their recording reached number 1 on the British pop charts. As with all bagpipe recordings, you either love it or you hate it. Amazing Grace has been recorded by Diana Ross, Andrea Bocelli, Willie Nelson, Celine Dion, Johnny Cash, Mahalia Jackson, and scores of others, including Aretha Franklin, about whom I'll say more in just a few minutes. And as I'll discuss at greater length in next week's sermon, it was also famously sung by President Obama in the wake of the church shootings in Charleston, South Carolina in 2015. As you may know, the lyrics to Amazing Grace were written by John Newton, an Englishman whose life story provides some essential background for understanding the hymn and how it came to be. As described in an article by David Sheward, Newton was born in 1725 in London to a Puritan mother who died 2 weeks before his 7th birthday, and a stern sea captain father who took him to sea starting at age 11. After many voyages and a reckless youth of drinking and carousing, Newton was impressed, meaning taken against his will, into the British Navy. In Newton's own words, describing just how lost a soul he was, he said, "How industriously is Satan served! I was formerly one of his active under-tempters, and had my influence been equal to my wishes, I would have carried all the human race with me. A common drunkard or profligate is a petty sinner to what I was. I had the ambition of a Caesar or an Alexander and wanted to rank in wickedness among the foremost of the human race." While Newton's confession of his own sinfulness might seem a bit over the top or dramatic or contrived to us now, it might be helpful to know that at least part of Newton's self-confessed wickedness had to do with his involvement in the slave trade. In his journals and letters, Newton described with, I would say, an alarmingly matter-of-fact attitude the truly horrific conditions under which these enslaved people were kept and shipped. For years, Newton served aboard ships carrying enslaved Africans, and even among slavers, Newton was considered particularly vile and sinful. At the same time, while at sea, Newton began educating himself, reading pretty much anything he could get his hands on, including works by the great philosophers and theologians. In 1748, Newton began reading a summary of the great 15th century work, The Imitation of Christ, by Thomas à Kempis. Although it's impossible to know which parts of the book Newton was actually reading at the time, there's a passage about grace in The Imitation of Christ, one of many, that reads as follows: "Grace favors the poor rather than the rich, and has more in common with the honorable than with the powerful. She takes pleasure in an honest man, not in a deceiver. She constantly encourages good men to labor earnestly for the better gifts, and by means of these virtues to become like the Son of God." It was during this time that Newton had a conversion experience. According to a biography by Bernard Martin, in March 1748, while Newton's ship, the Greyhound, was in the North Atlantic, a violent storm came upon the ship that was so rough it swept overboard a crew member that was standing where Newton himself had been standing just a moment before. After hours of the crew trying to empty water from the ship and expecting to be capsized, Newton and another mate tied themselves to the ship's pump to keep from being washed overboard, working for several hours. After proposing the measure to the captain, Newton had turned and said, "If this will not do, then Lord have mercy upon us." Eventually, the storm subsided, and some days later, the ship came safely to shore. As described by Martin, Newton's memory of his own "Lord have mercy upon us," uttered during a moment of desperation in the storm, did not leave him. He began to ask if he was worthy of God's mercy or in any way redeemable. He came to believe that God had sent him a profound message and had begun to work through him. While we might like to think that part of Newton's conversion included immediately turning away from the slave trade and instead working for the cause of abolition, that particular change did not come about until many years later. But Newton did retire from his life at sea, studied theology, and became a clergyman in the Anglican Church, serving in Olney, England, where he preached and he wrote some 280 hymns. Newton wrote Amazing Grace to accompany a sermon he delivered at Olney on New Year's Day in 1773. It was after he left Olney that Newton became an ardent and outspoken abolitionist. In 1778, as described in the article by Sheward, Newton published a pamphlet called Thoughts Upon the Slave Trade. The tract described the horrific conditions on the ships, and Newton apologized for making a public statement so many years after participating in the trade. He said, "It will always be a subject of humiliating reflection to me that I was once an active instrument in a business at which my heart now shudders." The pamphlet was so popular, it was reprinted several times and sent to every member of Parliament. Under the leadership of Member of Parliament William Wilberforce, the English civil government outlawed slavery in Great Britain in 1807, and Newton lived to see it, dying in December of that year. The tune that we now know as Amazing Grace was not joined with the words until the mid-1800s in America. The tune, originally an Appalachian folk tune called Great Britain, had also been known as Harmony Grove and was part of the American shape note singing tradition. The shape note tradition, in which the notes are written in different shapes representing different notes of the scale, took root in the American South in the 1800s and found its way into both black and white churches. And by the late 19th century, the song had become a standard entry in most Christian hymnals in the United States. Amazing Grace became associated with the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s, as it had by that time long been a mainstay of the Black church tradition. Perhaps one of the most amazing performances of Amazing Grace took place 50 years ago in 1972 at the New Temple Missionary Baptist Church in the Watts neighborhood of Los Angeles. Aretha Franklin came there to record a live album of gospel music that was released under the title Amazing Grace, which was the best-selling disc of Franklin's entire career of more than 50 years, and is still, I believe, the best-selling gospel album of all time. As Aretha Franklin sings the song, it's not just a song about grace. It becomes an experience of grace in the moment. She takes more than 10 minutes to sing Amazing Grace, and even then only gets through 2 verses. The first word of the song, amazing, it takes 20 seconds alone for her to sing it. In the Black church tradition from which Franklin came, hymns became opportunities to experience the Holy Spirit in the moment. Unlike much of the white Protestant tradition, in the Black church, you sing in order to become part of a greater whole, to experience firsthand liberation rooted in an understanding of grace that is broad enough to encompass all of human experience. There's a spaciousness in Franklin's rendering of Amazing Grace that enables the listener to feel the enormity of the giftedness of life itself, the greatness and grace, and all that flows from this sense of freely given and freely received wonder and beauty and awe. By the way, a documentary film made by Sidney Pollack about the making of the album Amazing Grace was released a few years ago, and I think is available on streaming services. It's a wonderful piece of filmmaking. For me, Aretha Franklin's powerful rendition of Amazing Grace gives us some hint what John Newton himself must have felt when he first sensed that his own life might be transformed, might be remade, that his own life might become an instrument for purposes higher and greater than his alone. All of us, I think, experience these moments if we are open to them. Moments when something breaks through the banality of everyday life and presents us with a new vision of what might be. These moments are not usually as grand or dramatic as Newton's near-death experience at sea, but they can be just as transformational. The secret to experiencing grace, if you will, is finding ways to remain open to it, finding ways to create that sense of spaciousness in our everyday lives, which is the subject of this beautiful poem titled Allow by Dana Faulds. There is no controlling life. Try corralling a lightning bolt, containing a tornado. Dam a stream and it will create a new channel. Resist and the tide will sweep you off your feet. Allow and grace will carry you to higher ground. The only safety lies in letting it all in. The wild with the weak, fear, fantasies, failures, and success. When loss rips off the doors of the heart, or sadness veils your vision with despair, practice becomes simply bearing the truth. In the choice to let go of your known way of being, the whole world is revealed to your new senses. I hope and pray that all of us might allow grace to enter our lives in any way we can, and that in so doing, in letting go of our known way of being, we might feel as John Newton did, carried to higher ground where all is transformed and all is made new. May it be so. Amen.
Please rise again and bow to your spirit to sing When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place,
When we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place.
when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place,
When we tell the story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place.
when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place,
When we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place.
when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Please be seated.
It is time for our offering. And the number's up there. I don't have to read it over and over, and everybody try to remember it. We have a important designated offering this morning. But before I go further into explaining it, I was asked to share a public service announcement regarding giving here at church, or really to any institution that you share your monetary gifts with. I am lucky that I work for an employer that provides a matching gifts program. And for years, I have used that program to benefit the things I give to, outside of church, to increase the amount that I can give. It is a wonderful program, and I'm very grateful for my employer for sharing that. I always thought for many, many years, up until last year actually, and I've worked there a really long time, that they would not match my gifts to Sunnyhill. And for some reason, I don't know why, last year I gave it a shot, and they did. And I was really surprised and kicking myself for all the monies I had left on the table all those years. So I again, as I made my pledge, and it doubles my pledge. I don't use it to make up my pledge, but check out your employer. Your employer may have a matching gifts program, and maybe you already know that and use it, but maybe it hadn't occurred to you that Sunnyhill could be a recipient of those gifts. So just wanted to share a lesson I learned and opportunity that I take to increase what I'm able to donate to our wonderful congregation here. And with that, this morning's designated offering will benefit the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee's Emergency Relief Fund. The UU Service Committee delivers aid with dignity and assists grassroots communities who are left out of traditional relief aid following crises. Your generous gift is a lifeline of support for people around the world rebuilding their lives and recovering from disasters. And I'm sorry, I saw footage of Ukraine this morning, and it's disturbing, to say the least. Our aid is going to be directed to agencies in Ukraine, so today's designated offering. And if you'd like to make a gift via our online giving system, you can go to by clicking on sunnyhill.org and click on the button that says Online Giving. Follow the instructions. You can text the amount of your gift and the word special if you are giving to our designated offering, or the word pledge if you are submitting a payment to your 2022 Sunnyhill pledge. And of course, you can always mail a check, and the address is at the bottom of our website, sunnyhill.org. We will be passing the basket as well for those who were able to give today. And as always, thank you for your generosity. Thank you, Carol. Please join me in saying the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
A couple of things coming up next week I just wanted to give you a heads up about. One is that pending board approval, we're going to resume our tradition of coffee and conversation in the fellowship hall after church next Sunday, another sign of returning to normalcy for us. So if you're going to come, please plan on staying afterwards. Also, after the service next Sunday, we're going to have a Sunnyhill 101, which is a short session with Bethany and me for any newcomers who want to learn more about our congregation or have any questions that you want to have answered. That'll be just after the service in the choir room, which is across the hall from the sanctuary. For now, we'll close with these words. In the end, it won't matter how much we have, but how generously we have given. It won't matter how much we know, but rather how well we live. And it won't matter how much we believe, but how deeply we love. Go in peace.